The great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy. Hundreds of alien representatives shifted in their seats, their eyes fixed on the massive holographic display floating in the center of the chamber. The image showed a growing purple storm that twisted and churned, consuming everything in its path. The quantum anomaly has already devoured 2 uninhabited systems, announced High Counselor Rex, his scaled skin reflecting the purple light. Now it threatens the Proxima colony. We estimate 3 million settlers are at risk. From his seat in the human section, Captain Tom Reed watched the other species' reactions. The warrior races sat tall in their seats, their ceremonial armor gleaming. The diplomatic races whispered among themselves. Nobody volunteered. Surely the mighty Krax Empire will handle this threat. Someone called out. All eyes turned to the Krax representative, a towering figure covered in battle scars. The Krax warrior stood up, his voice booming through the chamber. This is not a battle worthy of our warriors. Where is the honor in fighting an invisible enemy? We face our foes directly, not chase storms through space. Similar reactions came from other military powers. The Steel Claws declined, calling it beneath their dignity. The Crystal Fleet claimed their ships were meant for glorious combat, not cleanup duty. Tom felt his hands tighten into fists. 3 million lives hung in the balance, and these mighty warriors worried about their honor. The purple storm in the hologram grew larger, its tendrils reaching toward the populated worlds. Each second of delay meant more risk for the colonists. The humans have been unusually quiet, sneered a voice from the upper tiers. Perhaps they're too frightened to even speak. Laughter rippled through the chamber. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as the cautious species, the ones who built too many safety features into their ships, the ones who retreated from honorable battles. Tom stood up. The laughter died down as all eyes turned to him. Earth Space Command volunteers for this mission. Silence fell over the chamber, followed by more laughter, louder this time. The cowardly humans, someone shouted. What will you do? Run away from the storm? Tom kept his voice steady. If necessary, yes. We'll run away, again and again, until we find a way to stop it. We'll retreat if we must, observe, study, and return better prepared. Typical human response. The Krax warrior spat. No courage, no honor. If courage means dying pointlessly, then yes, we lack courage, Tom replied. But if those colonists need saving, we'll do it our way. Carefully, methodically, with backup plans for our backup plans. High Counselor Rex raised his hand for silence. Captain Reed, you understand the danger. The last probe we sent into the anomaly was torn apart in seconds. Yes, sir. That's why we'll send drones first. We'll gather data before risking lives. We'll take every precaution. More snickers echoed through the chamber. The warrior races shook their heads in disgust. The mighty humans, someone called out, defeating the enemy with safety protocols. Tom didn't bother responding to the mockery. He'd heard it all before. When humans first joined the Galactic Council, everyone had laughed at their ships. Too many escape pods, they said. Too many redundant systems. Too much automated monitoring. No room for glory with all these safety measures. Very well, Rex announced. Since no other species volunteers, the mission goes to Earth Space Command. Do you require any support, Captain Reed? No, sir. The ESS Prudence is ready for launch. We've been monitoring the situation and running simulations since the anomaly was first detected. This drew more laughter. Of course, the humans had been preparing instead of waiting for a glorious battle. Tom headed for the exit as the council moved on to other matters. He had a crew to brief and final preparations to make. Let them laugh. Let them call humans cowards. In his experience, there was nothing cowardly about choosing to live. Nothing dishonorable about protecting your crew. Nothing shameful about retreating to fight another day. As he walked through the corridors toward his ship, Tom's communicator buzzed. His crew was already aboard, running final system checks, testing backup systems, and preparing for every scenario they could think of. The fate of 3 million colonists now rested in the hands of the galaxy's most cautious species, and Tom intended to prove that sometimes caution was the greatest form of courage. The ESS Prudence hung in space like a careful thought made real. Unlike the sleek warships of the Cracks or the crystal-spired vessels of the Steel Claws, the human ship looked bulky and overbuilt. Extra hull plating covered vital systems. Backup sensors dotted its surface, and most notably, escape pod hatches lined its sides like a row of cautious promises. In the ship's main briefing room, Captain Tom Reed faced his crew. Engineer Jack Miller sat near the front, his tablet filled with system checks and backup procedures. Next to him, Science Officer Lisa Wells studied the latest data on the quantum anomaly, her eyes moving quickly across multiple screens. "The Council thinks we're cowards," Tom said, looking at each crew member in turn. "Let them think that. Our job isn't to prove our bravery. It's to save 3 million lives." Jack raised his hand. "Captain, I've upgraded the shield harmonics. We can switch frequencies faster than any other ship in the fleet. If something hits us, we'll have options." "Good." Tom nodded. "Options keep us alive." "Lisa, what have you found?" Lisa stood up, projecting her findings onto the main screen. "The anomaly's energy signature is strange. It's not random like natural phenomena. There's a pattern, but I'll need closer readings to confirm my theory." "That's why we're sending in the drones first," Tom replied. "Speaking of which," the ship's intercom crackled. "Captain, there's an incoming transmission from a Cracks battle cruiser." Tom sighed. "Put it through." The screen lit up with the scared face of a Cracks commander. "Human Captain," he growled, "we are here to observe your cautious approach." His tone made it clear what he thought of human methods. "You're welcome to watch, Commander," Tom replied calmly. "We launch our first drone in 20 minutes. The Cracks laughed. 20 minutes. We would have charged in by now. But please, take your time. Check your safety protocols again." The transmission cut off. Jack shook his head. "They really don't get it, do they?" "They don't have to," Lisa said, returning to her data. "We're not here to impress them." Tom moved to the ship's observation window, watching as the maintenance crew prepared the first drone. The small craft carried more sensors than weapons, another choice the warrior races mocked. But those sensors might mean the difference between life and death. "Final checks, everyone," Tom announced. "Jack, shield status. Primary, secondary, and tertiary shields all at full power. Backup generators ready. Emergency power cells charged. Lisa, sensor arrays. All calibrated. The drone's ready to gather every type of data we can think of, and some we probably haven't thought of yet." Tom allowed himself a small smile. This was human courage, not charging in blindly, but preparing for every possibility. Not seeking glory, but ensuring survival. The minutes ticked by as the crew completed their preparations. Other alien ships gathered to watch, their crews probably betting on how long it would take the humans to retreat. Drone launching in 3, 2, 1. The small craft detached from the Prudence, its sensors already gathering data as it moved toward the purple storm of the anomaly. On the main screen, readings began pouring in. Lisa's eyes widened. "Captain, these readings, they're not natural. The pattern is too precise." "Artificial?" Tom asked, leaning forward. "Possibly. The energy signature suggests." A burst of static cut through the ship's speakers. On the screen, the drone's feed showed a flash of purple light before going dark. "Drone lost," Jack reported, "but we got good data right up until the end. More than any previous attempt." Tom nodded. "Begin analysis. Prepare the second drone with adjustments based on what we just learned. We're not charging in until we understand what we're dealing with." From the observation window, he could see the alien ships watching them. Let them wait. Let them mock the careful humans with their endless preparations. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is take your time to do things right. After 6 drones and 18 hours of careful testing, the ESS Prudence finally moved toward the quantum anomaly. The purple storm loomed ahead, its swirling energy tendrils reaching out like hungry fingers into space. "All hands, yellow alert," Tom announced from his captain's chair. "Shields at maximum. All backup systems ready." The watching alien ships had grown restless. The Crack's commander had sent 3 messages complaining about the delay. The Steel Claw's representative had openly wagered that the humans would turn back before even reaching the anomaly's edge. "Captain," Lisa called from her station, "the last drone's data confirms my theory. These energy patterns, they're following a mathematical sequence." Jack looked up from his engineering console. "Nature doesn't do math that precise. Someone made this thing." "Or something," Lisa replied. "The sequence is complex, but it's definitely artificial." Tom leaned forward. "So this isn't just a natural disaster. It's a weapon. An ancient one." "By the looks of it," Lisa said. "The energy signature matches some artifacts we found from the early races, but this is far more advanced." The ship's sensors pinged a warning. They were entering the anomaly's outer field. Purple energy flickered across the Prudence's shields. "Shield harmonics holding," Jack reported. "The frequency modulation is working. Whatever this thing is, it can't get a solid grip on us." The Crack's commander's face appeared on the screen again. "Still alive humans. In our legends, warriors would have charged straight through by now, seeking glory in battle." "And how many of those warriors survived?" Tom asked quietly, but the Cracks had already cut the transmission. Lisa's console beeped urgently. "Captain, I'm detecting something at the heart of the anomaly. A structure." The main screen zoomed in, filtering out the purple energy storms. There, floating in the center of the chaos, was a black crystalline object about the size of a small shuttle. "That's the source," Lisa said. "The storm is just a defense mechanism. This object is generating it." "Can we shut it down?" Tom asked. Jack studied the readings. A direct attack would be suicide. The energy levels would overwhelm any weapon we have. "Then we don't attack," Tom said. "We study. We learn." "Lisa, focus all sensors on that structure." "Jack, keep those shields modulating. Let's see what we're really dealing with." The Prudence edged closer, its shields flickering as they adapted to each new energy wave. Other ships would have been torn apart, but the human vessel's excessive safety features were paying off. "Captain," Lisa's voice was excited, "I'm detecting symbols on the structure's surface. They match early race writing we found before. This isn't just a weapon. It's a test." "A test?" Jack asked. "What kind of test?" "The kind that kills anyone who tries to fight it," Tom realized. "The warrior races would have failed instantly. They would have seen the storm and attacked. But we stopped to look," Lisa finished. "The symbols talk about wisdom before valor and understanding before action." The purple storm intensified around them. Warning alarms blared as the ship's systems trained against the energy assault. "Shields at 60%, Jack reported. "We need to make a decision soon, Captain." Tom looked at the ancient structure floating before them. A test of wisdom, not strength. A challenge that required thought, not blind courage. "Take us back," he ordered. "Get us to a safe distance." "Retreating already." The Crack's commander's mocking voice came through again. "We expected no less from humans." Tom ignored him. "Lisa, download every bit of data you can as we withdraw. Jack, record exactly how our shields performed. We're not running away. We're going to solve this puzzle." As the Prudence backed carefully out of the storm, Tom could almost hear the laughter from the watching alien ships. Let them laugh. They didn't understand that sometimes the path to victory required a step backward first. The human crew had found something none of the warrior races would have discovered. Now they just had to figure out how to use that knowledge to save 3 million lives. Back at a safe distance, the crew of the ESS Prudence worked tirelessly, to understand the ancient structure at the heart of the quantum storm. The ship's powerful computers analyzed every bit of data they had gathered, while Lisa pored over the partial translations of the symbols they'd discovered. "Look at this," Lisa said, projecting a complex diagram onto the main screen. "The energy storm isn't random. It's following a pattern that repeats every 7 minutes." Jack studied the diagram from his engineering station. "Like a combination lock. Each rotation brings different energy patterns." "Exactly," Lisa nodded. "And these symbols, they're not just warnings. They're instructions, but not the kind warrior races would understand." Tom moved closer to the screen. "Explain." "The early races were testing future civilizations," Lisa continued. "The symbols talk about the wisdom to wait and the courage to listen. They weren't looking for warriors. They were looking for thinkers." Outside the ship's windows, the other alien vessels continued their watch. The Crack's commander had been oddly quiet since the Prudence's retreat, perhaps wondering what the humans had discovered. Jack suddenly sat up straighter. "Captain, what if the shield modifications we made weren't just for protection? What if they're part of the solution?" "Go on," Tom encouraged. "The storm's energy patterns, they match the frequency changes we programmed into our shields. We thought we were just defending ourselves. But what if we were accidentally speaking the same language as the device?" Lisa's eyes widened. "Of course, the early races wouldn't want their tests solved by brute force. They'd want to see if a species could understand and communicate with their technology." The ship's computer beeped, completing another analysis of the storm's patterns. New data scrolled across their screens, and Lisa gasped. "Captain, look at these numbers." She pointed to a sequence. "They're not just random. They're prime numbers, but arranged in a specific way. It's not just a lock, it's a dialogue." Tom thought carefully. Other races would have seen the storm as something to fight. Their warriors would have charged in, weapons blazing, trying to destroy what they didn't understand. But the humans' cautious approach had revealed something entirely different. "Can we respond?" he asked. "Use our shields to send a signal back?" Jack nodded slowly. Yes, we could modify the shield harmonics to match their pattern, then add the next number in the sequence. Like answering a question." "The cowardly humans, hiding behind their shields," Tom smiled. "That's what the warrior races thought. But those same shields might be the key to communication." As they worked, a transmission came through from the Crack's ship. "Have you solved the puzzle yet, humans? Or are you still running your safety checks?" "We're working on it," Tom replied simply. "Let them think what they wanted." Lisa's voice rose with excitement. "Captain, there's more in the symbols. This wasn't just a test of wisdom. It was a warning. The early races knew that aggressive species would eventually reach the stars. They wanted to make sure that only civilizations who could think before acting would gain access to their legacy." "A legacy?" Jack asked. "What kind of legacy?" "I don't know yet," Lisa admitted. "But these energy patterns, they're not just a weapon. They're carrying information. Massive amounts of it." Tom looked at the purple storm swirling in the distance. What secrets had the early races hidden there? What knowledge had they protected from warrior races who would use it unwisely? "How long to modify the shields for communication?" he asked. "An hour, maybe 2, Jack replied. "We'll need to be precise." "Take all the time you need," Tom said. "We'll do this right." As his crew went to work, Tom thought about how the galaxy's warrior races would react when they learned that the humans, the cautious, cowardly humans, had solved a puzzle that had existed for millions of years. Not through strength or bravery, but through patience and understanding. Sometimes, wisdom was the greatest weapon of all. The ESS Prudence hung in space, its shields pulsing with carefully programmed energy patterns. For the past hour, they had been attempting to communicate with the ancient device, sending prime number sequences through modified shield harmonics. "Energy spike," Jack called out from his station. "The storm's responding." The purple quantum storm shifted, its swirling patterns changing. A beam of energy shot out, touching the Prudence's shields. But instead of attacking, it seemed to be scanning. "We're receiving data," Lisa announced, her fingers flying across her console. "Massive amounts of it. The device is talking back." The ship's computer struggled to process the incoming information. Images and symbols flashed across the main screen, too fast to follow. "Warning," the ship's AI announced. "Shield power at 40% and dropping." Tom gripped his chair. They were so close to a breakthrough, but at what cost? The warrior races would push forward, regardless of the danger. They would risk everything for glory. But that wasn't the human way. "Pull us back," Tom ordered. "But Captain," Lisa protested, "we're finally getting through." "And we'll get through again," Tom said firmly. "But not at the cost of this ship and crew. Jack, get us to safe distance. Lisa, save everything we've received so far." As the Prudence retreated, the incoming transmission from the device cut off. The purple storm seemed to pulse with disappointment. The Crack's commander's face appeared on their screen immediately. "Another retreat. You humans truly have no warrior spirit." But Tom noticed something different in the alien's voice. Was that uncertainty beneath the mockery? "Captain," Lisa called out, "you need to see this. The data we received, it's incredible." The main screen filled with images and text, star maps, scientific formulas, and most importantly, detailed information about the device itself. "It's not just a test," Lisa explained. "It's a gateway." The early races built a network of these devices across the galaxy. Each one contains a piece of their knowledge, but only for those who proved themselves worthy by showing restraint and wisdom. Jack studied the technical readouts. The energy drain on our shields wasn't an attack. It was measuring us, testing our ability to recognize danger and respond appropriately. "By retreating," Tom began. "We passed another test," Lisa finished. "The data shows similar devices have destroyed hundreds of ships over the millennia. Warrior races who pushed too hard, who didn't retreat when their ships were in danger." The screen showed recordings of previous encounters. Proud warships charging into the storm, their weapons blazing. Each one torn apart by the very force they tried to fight. "We can do this," Tom said. "But we do it our way. Careful, methodical." "Jack, how long to recharge the shields to full power?" 3 hours for a complete recharge." "Take 4, Tom replied. "I want every system double-checked." The alien ships watching them broadcasted a mix of taunts and questions. The human's strange approach had produced results none of them understood. The Crack's commander seemed particularly troubled, his usual mockery now tinged with confusion. Lisa worked through the partial data they had received. "Captain, I think I know why this device is here, in this particular system." "Tell me." "It's not random. The early races placed it here because they predicted this region would eventually hold colonies. The quantum storm isn't just a test. It's protecting something they left for whoever proved wise enough to find it." "And the 3 million colonists?" Tom asked. "Never in real danger," Lisa smiled. "The storm was programmed to avoid populated areas. It's been hurting us, guiding us here." Tom nodded. Everything about their cowardly approach had been exactly right. Their caution, their careful study, their willingness to retreat, all of it had been part of the test. "Prepare for another attempt," he ordered. "But this time, we know what we're dealing with. This time, we talk to it properly." The crew set to work, ignoring the continued commentary from the alien ships. Let them watch. Let them learn that sometimes victory comes not to the boldest warrior, but to the wisest explorer. 4 hours later, the ESS Prudence approached the quantum storm once again. This time, every screen on the bridge displayed the decoded instructions they had discovered in the early races data. "Shields at full power," Jack reported. "All backup systems ready. New harmonic patterns programmed and triple-checked." Lisa looked up from her station. "Translation matrix complete. We should be able to understand any new data instantly now." Tom took a deep breath. Begin transmission sequence. The Prudence's shields lit up with precise patterns of energy, pulsing in the mathematical language they had decoded. The quantum storm responded immediately, its purple tendrils swirling in matching patterns. "It's working," Lisa exclaimed. "The device is accepting our communication protocol." The alien ships watching from a distance fell silent. Even the Crack's commander didn't transmit any mocking comments as he watched the humans work. "Energy levels rising," Jack warned. "But it's different this time. The storm isn't attacking. It's restructuring itself." The purple energy clouds began to part, creating a clear path toward the ancient device at the center. As they watched, the black crystalline structure started to glow with a soft blue light. "More data incoming," Lisa announced. "But it's not overwhelming our systems this time. The device is teaching us how to receive it properly." Tom leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "The early races didn't just leave knowledge behind," Lisa explained, reading the incoming data. "They left teaching programs. The device adapts to the learning capacity of whoever proves worthy to access it." Jack's console beeped. "Captain, I'm detecting something else. The device is sending us engineering specifications. It's showing us how to modify our shields to do something I've never seen before." "Can we implement the modifications?" Tom asked. "Yes, but—" Jack hesitated. "It would mean dropping our shields for 20 seconds to reconfigure them. 20 seconds of complete vulnerability in the heart of the quantum storm. The warrior races would have seen it as a challenge, a test of bravery. But Tom saw it differently. "Lisa, analyze every bit of data we have. Jack, run simulations. I want to be absolutely certain before we try anything." More transmissions came from the alien ships now. The Crack's commander's voice was urgent. The humans delay again. They stand at the threshold of discovery, and still they hesitate. But there was something new in his voice. Not mockery this time, but growing understanding. After 15 minutes of careful analysis, Lisa looked up. "Captain, every piece of data confirms it. This is the final test. The device isn't just checking if we're willing to lower our shields. It's testing if we'll do it carefully and intelligently." Jack nodded. "The simulations look good. If we follow the specified procedure exactly, we should be safe. But we'll only get one chance." Tom stood up, looking at each crew member. "This goes against everything other species expect from us. They think humans should either charge in bravely or run away in fear. But we're going to do what humans do best: solve the problem carefully and correctly." The crew began their preparations. Every step was checked and double-checked. Computer simulations ran constantly. They studied the device's instructions until they could recite them from memory. Finally, Tom gave the order. "Begin shield reconfiguration." The Prudence's shields flickered and died. For 20 long seconds, the ship hung vulnerable in space. The quantum storm swirled around them, but didn't attack. "Reconfiguration complete," Jack announced. "New shield pattern activating." Now, the shields came back online, but they were different. Instead of merely deflecting the storm's energy, they began to resonate with it. The purple clouds responded, swirling faster and faster. "It's working," Lisa shouted. "The device, it's accepting us as worthy students." The black crystalline structure pulsed with bright blue light. Around them, the quantum storm began to change, revealing the true nature of what the early races had left behind. The humans' cowardly approach had succeeded where countless warrior races had failed. Their caution, their careful study, their willingness to check everything. It had all led to this moment of triumph. The quantum storm transformed before their eyes. The threatening purple clouds shifted into streams of pure blue light, forming complex patterns around the ESS Prudence. The ancient device at the center now glowed like a newborn star, its black crystalline surface covered in flowing symbols. "Final data transmission beginning," Lisa announced, her voice filled with wonder. "The early races, They left behind their entire scientific database, everything they learned about the universe. On the main screen, information poured in. Star charts revealing hidden wormholes. Physics equations that solved mysteries humans had puzzled over for centuries. Medical knowledge that could revolutionize healing. They didn't just leave knowledge, Tom realized. They left hope for the future. They wanted to find species who would use this wisdom carefully. The alien ships watching from a distance began moving closer, their sensors desperately trying to understand what they were seeing. The Crack's commander's face appeared on the screen, but this time there was no mockery in his expression. "How?" he asked simply. "Our greatest warriors tried for generations to unlock the device's secrets. The finest minds of a dozen species attempted to solve its puzzle. Yet, the cowardly humans succeeded." Jack looked up from his engineering station, smiling. "Maybe because we didn't try to prove our courage. We just tried to solve the problem." Lisa's console beeped with a new discovery. "Captain, I'm reading the device's final message. It's a letter, left by the early races." The message appeared on the main screen, translated into modern language. "To those who have proven themselves worthy. We left these gifts not for the strongest, nor the bravest, nor the most determined. We left them for the wise. For those who understand that true courage lies not in rushing forward, but in knowing when to wait. Not in fighting every battle, but in choosing which battles matter. The universe is vast and often dangerous. Its greatest mysteries will not be solved by force or valor alone. They require patience, understanding, and above all, wisdom. You have proven yourselves worthy not by your strength, but by your caution. Not by your fearlessness, but by your respect for the unknown. Not by your pride, but by your willingness to learn. The knowledge we leave you is powerful. Use it as you have used our test, with care, with thought, and with wisdom." The quantum storm continued its transformation, becoming a network of blue energy that spread through the entire system. The colonists, who had never been in real danger, watched in awe as their sky filled with flowing rivers of light. "The device is shutting down," Jack reported. "But the data, we got everything. Every last bit." The Crack's commander spoke again, but his voice was different now. Humbled. "The early races were right. Our warriors would have destroyed this gift in their attempts to seize it. Perhaps there is wisdom in what we called cowardice." Tom stood up, looking at his crew with pride. "There's no such thing as cowardice in doing things right. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our bravery or our power. It's our ability to stop, think, and solve problems carefully." The ancient device gave one final pulse of light before going dark. But its gifts remained. The vast database of knowledge, the transformed and safer star system, and perhaps most importantly, a new understanding throughout the galaxy. In the days that followed, the stories spread. The humans who had been mocked for their caution had unlocked secrets that had existed for millions of years. Their cowardly approach had succeeded where generations of proud warriors had failed. As the ESS Prudence prepared to return home, carrying its precious cargo of ancient knowledge, Tom looked out at the now peaceful star system. The blue energy rivers would remain as a permanent reminder that sometimes the greatest victories come not from charging forward, but from having the wisdom to move carefully. The early races had been right. True courage wasn't about fearlessly facing danger. It was about having the wisdom to handle danger intelligently. And humanity, for all its supposed cowardice, had proven itself the wisest species of all.